Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rosano, and this is another episode of the world famous The University Love, the best podcast in 1, 2, 3 galaxies. Ladies and gentlemen, you and I, we just called this show Online Marketing Moves, and we're coming to you live today. We did a bonus episode Saturday. Supposed to do one yesterday, couldn't do one yesterday. Things got a little hectic. I had to go. I had to go. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Yesterday, I had to go do. I had to go do laundry. The dryer at my house is broke. Okay, my wife, she says we should just get another one. I tell my wife. I don't know if I've discussed this with you, but I'm going through one of these do it yourself phases, and I'm like, you know, because right now I'm very annoyed at, like, the last time the wash and dry was not working. I looked it up, and there was three main components that it could have been. One thing was like a $20 piece, and I was like, I can get that piece and put it on there. And my wife, I love her to death, but she's always like, you can't fix nothing. It's very annoying, and it pisses me off, because it's like, you can do anything if you put your mind to it. You can do anything if you try. If you figure it out. And so I put the garbage disposal together. It came apart. It broke down. I fixed it. Unhooked it, cleaned it all out, and all this stuff. Put it back together. And then my wife was like, ugh. And then 3 days later, it had like a leak, but I just had to retighten it. But she didn't give me a chance to retighten it. She paid somebody to come out. They charged her $60. They came out. All they did was just tighten it. And then she was like, I'm so annoyed because all they did was tighten it. I said, I told you there's nothing wrong with the thing. It just need to be tightened. I'm like, come on. But that's but I'm like, I'm gonna fix the drive this weekend. She's like, we should just go and get another. And I'm like, yeah, we can go get another one. Of course we need another one, but in the meantime, because I'm going to the laundromat, and it's kind of an annoyance. It's an inconvenience, and it's I mean, it's cool because uh, it's a chance to get out of the house for an hour or so. But I mean, I'd rather be doing something else besides the laundry. You know what I mean? But so it was hot. It was like so hot at the laundromat, and I was gonna record. And I was like, if I sit in my car and try to record a podcast, I'm gonna have a damn heat stroke. And so I said I had to pass on that. And when I got back, my wife, she was all talking and talking and talking and talking, and the baby was gaga woo da 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 da. And so the baby's the one that the baby, my baby, I love her to death. She's a distraction. I tell my wife, I said, we got to get this child in daycare because whenever I'm sure you might have kids, you might not, but whenever you see your children, especially when they're young, because when they're young, they want to be around you. They want to. It's like my nephew. I remember my nephew was 5 years old. And he was a cute little fella. And he would. I remember one time. I will give you a quick story. When I was over the road all the time driving the truck, I got into Missouri at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and my parents, they left the key in the mailbox. I got the mailbox, opened the key. I came into the room, went to bed, and 3 hours later, I was still tired. I was tired. But 3 hours later, I seen the cutest little face, the cutest my little nephew. And he was like, Uncle Tony, I didn't know you was coming to town. And I said, well, yes, I am. And he said, oh yeah. He said, get up. We got to start our day early. And I was like, okay. And I had only had 3 hours of sleep, but it was my nephew. And at the time, he wanted to be. Now my nephew would not wake me up. My nephew don't even call. He 20 years old now. He don't fool me no more. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But I love him anyway. But it's just funny, like right now is the time to love on your children because they're like, she's like one and she's like da 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 da, and I'm like, hey, let's go to the store, and she gets all excited when we go to the store, and she gets all excited when we go outside, and we go out and we do the pool and we go to the store, we do little walks, and she gets all excited about all this stuff, and I'm like, it's so much time to be spending with her, but I tell my wife at the same time, more than a mission, like I haven't wrote I haven't wrote an article in since she's been since she's been born. That's not because I didn't want to. It's just between her and the caretaking. It's been tough. But as I told my wife, I said you gotta find a daycare for this child. You gotta put it in there, and because I got things to do. I said we got money to make, and so that's that. But today is Monday. Here in America, today is Independence Day. It's the 4th of July, and everybody, well, you might know, you might not know, it don't matter. But today is the day of independence. Today is the day of freedom. And, I've gotten a couple of emails. I'm what, get a, if you ever want to learn about email, get on people's email list so you can do a little studying about, emails and how to write emails and email marketing. It's I wouldn't copy anybody because I just think that's kind of dumb. But you could definitely see, like you could get like different things from people. You get like different ideas. I wouldn't do it exactly the same because we are all not the same. We're definitely not the same. Everybody has different stories. Everybody has different, viewpoints. Me and you could watch the same movie and we'll get different viewpoints from it. I had a discussion with my cousin about watching The Wire, and he had a whole different viewpoint than what I had. He's like, The Wire, this, that, the other. And I'm like, The Wire is a good show, but it's about the city, and he was telling me it's about this, it's about that, and it's like, we had two different viewpoints, which is cool, but we all see things differently. That's why copying is, I mean, me myself, some people they copy and they probably make plenty of money, but I got, which is probably maybe a fault, but maybe not. Man, I got too much pride to be copying somebody and following them, and then be like, hey, I got money. It's like Burger King and McDonald's. Like Burger King they went out to McDonald's back in the day. If you ever watch this movie, The Founder, it's a pretty good movie. It's about business, and you can learn some things from that. But it was the two guys. They was like their names were McDonald's and McDonald, and they said like the people from Burger King flew out because they wanted to learn about the restaurant because they had this speedy service, and so they wanted to learn. But Burger King put their own spin and twist on things. Burger King came up with flame broiled burgers, so it's the difference between their hamburgers and McDonald's hamburgers, which is, it's the same thing. They all make hamburgers, but everybody has like a different twist. Nobody's like, hey man, I'm gonna copy straight from McDonald's. It's not. It's like you see an idea, and you're like, all right, that idea is great. Let me do this idea and let me put a twist on it. It works. It's you don't got to go. You don't have to go word for word plagiarizing. You see things, and it's like I don't know if you listen to hip hop or whatever, but hip hop, R&B, sometimes they do a song, and then of course they would come back with the remix. I remember back when I used to listen to R. Kelly before I was aware he was a whole pervert, but anyway, back in the day, he used to be good at he would have a song and then he would do a remix, and the remix is always better than the song. So for you, if you see an idea, it's like, hey man, try that idea, but put a twist on it, put a spin on it, put your own unique flavor to the idea, and take it at that. But let's get back to the independence thing. Independence Day is about freedom, and I saw a couple emails that was talking about freedom, and I was like, oh, that's cool, and it makes you think. It does make you think. And the one thing that I think about doing any holiday, it's like you the one thing, the reason why that that one of the many reasons why I wanted to be an entrepreneur and set my own time schedule is because one of the silliest things I've always heard is when people are like, "Hey man, you off on the 4th, like the 4th of July?" And you go, "Yeah, I'm off on the 4th," and then they go, "So when you have to go back, like and you're like, what do you mean? Like, so when you have to go back, when you have to go back into work, it's like, tomorrow the 5th, like what, like what?" And people are like, "Man, I'm gonna get." I heard a guy one time. He said it just like this. He said, "I gotta get drunk early so I can sleep it off, so I can be ready for work tomorrow." And I thought that's kind of a sad way to live. You know what I mean? Like I'm not, man. Like I said before, I don't knock jobs. I don't knock anybody with a job, because I mean, hell, I have a job, but I know that I'm getting out of here. You know what I mean? And it's like you want. It ain't even about having a job. You know what I mean? The main thing is you want the ability to have independence. You want the ability to be the most important thing that you can be in this earth. Besides being able to feel like, hey man, I'm happy with myself. Being happy with yourself, being comfortable with yourself, content, however you want to put it, you know, is a good thing. Another thing that's important, I ain't gonna say the most important thing because, you know, but one of the most important things that you can be is financially independent. A lot of people are never financially independent, and the reason why you would like to be financially independent. My uncle told me something one time. My uncle, he was a grouchy man, grouchy man. But the one thing he said to me that made very good sense. He said, "Man, you want to be able to have enough money to tell somebody and that you work with. If they tell you something that you don't like, you can tell them to go. You can tell them to go to effing he double hockey sticks." Okay, that was his words, not mine. But he was like, you could tell them to kiss your, and I was like, man, up. And he was like, hey man, if you got enough money, well, you don't need the job, but you work the job because you like to work there. That's great. He said, but the worst thing you can be in a position is you need that job, you need that money. He said that sucks. He said, and that's where he said, I didn't graduate high school, so that's where I'm at. It is what it is. He said, but for the rest of you boys, and I was like 20 then. He's like, but for the rest of you fellas, I'm telling y'all right now, go get your education or go get a trade, go find a craft, go do something. But you want to be able to have enough financial independence. And I was like, coming from my uncle, that makes a lot of sense. And so, on this day of freedom, think about that. Think about, I don't care. I don't care who you work for. I don't care if you ever work for yourself, you work for somebody. The thing that you can do in this lifetime is be financially independent. So that way, if you feel like taking off the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th of July, you can do that. And if they say, we need you to come back immediately, you say, I ain't got to come back. Okay? I'll come back when I come back. It is what it is. And, and, it bees like that sometimes. And, man, the worst thing the worst thing is to feel like you beholden to somebody. In the Bible it says, was it the Bible or was it might be in the Bible too, but I read it in the Bible too. But the worst thing you could do is be a slave to debt. Slave. You don't want to be a slave to the lender. You know. Yeah. Was that in the Bible? I don't want to misquote, but it was in something I read. The Bible might have been in the World's Greatest Salesman. It was somewhere. But it definitely definitely in the Bible, there's something about being in debt and love of money is love of money is the root of all evil. Not having money, not you know. But so don't ever if somebody ever tells you money is the root of all evil, it's love of money is the root of all evil. That's in the Bible. You know what I mean? And so I don't care what you do. I don't care where you go. The most important thing you can do is try to learn try to learn and try to gain financial independence, like that's very important. That's very free. That's very freeing. That's very liberating. And money is a stressful thing when you don't have it. Money is a nice thing when you have it. And ain't nothing worse than because I've been flat broke and busted, in my early 20s. And it wasn't fun. It just wasn't fun. And it sucked. And I remember going down to the corner store. I remember going down to the store, and one thing that made me say, "Hey man, I'm gonna start saving my pennies," and because this is nonsense. I remember one time I was at Walmart, and this is very embarrassing, but I was at Walmart, and this is back in the day. Like back in the day, if you're old, if you're 40, if you're like in your 40s or something like that, you might know this, you might not. But back in the day, me growing up in a small town, people used to write checks, and like if your check bounced, they would put your name at the grocery store. They would put your name up like don't accept checks from this person. They bounce checks. And it's crazy. But anyway, I was at Walmart one time. They had just switched over to because back in the day you could write a check and it wouldn't go through for like 3 or 4 days. So like let's say today's the 4th and you're gonna get paid. Matter of fact, this is a good example because today's a holiday. So let's say you wrote a check on the 3rd. So it's not gonna go to the bank today. It's not gonna go tomorrow. It's gonna go like on the 6th. And if you get paid on the 6th, your money comes in, the check is clear on the 6th. There's no problem. So you can it's like floating a check. But Walmart started this system where they treated the check like a debt, like a automatic. It would automatically come out of your account. And I remember I had bought stuff like 20 something bucks, and I went to the store, and I didn't have no money, and then the lady scanned it. She's like, "Oh no, it denied your check," and I was like, "What? No, what the hell? I got money?" And of course, you do the thing. You're like, "What? I got money in my account," but you ain't got no money in your account. And the lady was like, you want to try to pay something else?" I said, "Nah, I gotta go down there to the bank and see what the hell's going on down here. And I didn't have no money. And it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing, but it was like, it don't matter, whatever. But it just gave me reasons to be like, all right, I'm never gonna be in this situation again. Like this sucks, you know what I mean? And I haven't been in that situation since. I'm not completely like, I mean, now the main goal is to be financially independent and to work for myself. That's just my goals. But for you, financial independence is a good thing. Now I'm not gonna beat nobody over the head. Like you see how these people they like generational wealth, blah 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 blah. I mean, come on, man, blah 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 blah. All that stuff, man. It don't matter. The most important thing you can do if you have kids, the most important thing you can do is teach them financial literacy. Like that's more important than giving them a bunch of money. Because if you'd have gave me a bunch of money when I was 18, I'd be flat broke by now. Might be dead, but but you never know. But I mean, you can't give. You imagine giving an 18-year. You imagine giving you. Just think back to you. Can you imagine you giving your 18-year-old self like $1 million? How fast would you blow that $1 million? I know I would have blew through that money in about 2 years, probably the most 3 years. Not because I just don't know what to do, but my family would have been having their hands out. I would have bought me a car, probably would have bought me a house. I didn't know anything about taxes. I didn't know anything about I didn't know anything about anything back in them days. So they would have called me up and say, "Hey, you gotta pay your property tax." And I said, "Property tax? I bought that." Because I thought before, if you bought a house, then that was it. But I didn't realize, property tax and all this kind of stuff. And so the most important thing that you can teach your kids about anything financial is financial literacy, so that way they won't be ignorant when it comes to finance, and then it's like, hey, I won't do this, I won't do that. My parents told me to do this, parents told me to do that. Because my parents always told me, they said, do better than what we did. And I'm like, all right. So they taught me a couple of things, but now I know a lot more, and I can teach my child, things that I've learned. And so on this day of independence, I highly hope that I'm not gonna say hey, read this book or read that book. Not today, not today. But for you, for your loved ones, I hope you get as much financial independence as you possibly can, because being stressed out about money, well, I don't stress out about a lot, because you know when I was young, people have been called bill collectors calling me when I was 21 looking for stuff, and I'm just like, hey man, I ain't got nothing, so it is what it is. But that was my attitude, because I've always kind of been like, but I know, like, my wife, she stresses out about stuff like that. Like when we first started dating, she was stressed out if somebody called her. But I know a lot of people like that. My mom used to be like that, she said, until one day she realized they ain't gonna throw me in jail. But you don't want those headaches anyway. But you definitely want more financial freedom, financial independence. And I ain't saying you gotta go travel the world and all that jazz. All this BS people tell you these days, and you know. And I'm not telling you what to do and how to do it. Yeah, I know we all see these stupid posts sometimes, and people are just like, well, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. It's like, God bless you. If you do Bitcoin, God bless you. If you do stocks, God bless you. If you run a business, hey man, God bless you. If you got a high paying job and you can save money, hey man, God bless you. It don't matter, man. It don't matter which way you do it. It don't matter how you do it. For me, I already know the only way I'm gonna get fully financial independent is create money outside of the career I have, because or buy me a truck or something like that. I already know that. So I'm just once you figure out how you're gonna get the money, then go for it. But hopefully all of us can get financially independent. Anybody listening to this show, I pray for you. Pray that you can be able to, because it's a lot better than it's a lot better to be able to say it's a lot better to be able to go to the grocery store and buy something that you want, instead of being like, damn man, let me check, let me see how much money I got in the bank account. Let me call before I go. Let me call first and then see if I got any money in the bank account before I start buying stuff. You know what I mean? Of course, when you do get financially independent, you ain't gonna stop counting. You ain't gonna stop counting your pennies and all that stuff. But it's like, all right, I know what I got X amount in the bank, and I can do this. I can do X, Y, Z. That's a beautiful thing. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast. We'll make this a bonus episode since this is a holiday around this joint. And we'll be back tomorrow with all the episode of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is Tony Rizzano, and I appreciate you listening. And as always, everybody, peace.